Dear students, we are going to discuss dramatic monologue and blank verse in Victorian literature. First of all, we'll look upon the definition. A dramatic monologue is a long speech by a single person. It differs from soliloquy, which means the expression of ideas by a character in a play. On the other hand, dramatic monologue is a kind of lyric which was used and improved by Robert Browning. As you know, dear students, we have discussed the themes of Victorian poetry, Alfred Lord's poetry. So now, today, our topic is dramatic monologue and blank verse. So the poems are dramatic in sense that they have a theoretical quality. For example, poem is meant to be read to an audience. To say that the poem is a monologue means that these are the words of one speaker with no dialogue coming from any other character. The reason poets choose to write poems like this is to express a point of view through the words of a character. However, often the opinions started and stated by that characters are not the same as the views of the poet. Most of the time, the speakers tries to convince someone of something, and many may be telling the whole truth. So, if we look upon the characteristic, a speaker is a single person who is not a poet. The views of the speaker may contradict with those of the poet. The speech of this character makes up the whole verse in a specific situation at a crucial moment. This character addresses and interacts with one or more people, but we know the other's presence and what they say or do only from clues in the poetic dialogues of the speaker. So, the primary focus of the poet is to tell the readers and audience a story having a moral in a way that boosts the, you can say, curiosity towards it and the speaker towards permanent character. The subject of the monologue is self revelation. These are some of the features of dramatic monologue. So we'll look upon the examples. My Last Duchess by Robert Browning, The Bishop Ordered His Tomb by Robert Browning, Andrea del Sarto by Robert Browning, Men and Women by Robert Browning, Christmas Eve and the Easter Day by Robert Browning, Dramatis Persona by Robert Browning, The Love Song of Alfred Perfork by Eliot, Ulysses by Tennyson. So these are the some famous dramatic monologue. So now we'll look upon a blank verse. So blank verse poetry can contain any number of lines. It is a traditional meter for long narrative poems and verse drama. It is also often used for poems of description and reflection and for dramatic monologue poems in the form of speech by a single character. So blank verse is a unrhyming verse in a iambic pentameter lines. This means that the rhythm is based towards a pattern in which an unstressed syllable is followed by a stressed one, and that each normal line has 10 syllables, 5 of them stressed. So, if we look upon the characteristic, a device typically found in well handed blank verse is enjambment. This is where a grammatical unit statement is run on into the next line. These lines contain two examples of enjambment. So we look upon the history of blank verse. Blank verse was introduced into England by the Earl of Surrey in about 1540. It is the principal meter of Shakespeare's play, the meter of Milton's epic poems, as well as of many other major works of poetry. So these are the things that we have discussed in today's lecture. So how we have to use blank verse and dramatic monologue in literature.